Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests. I welcome you all to the meeting number 803 of Chennai Toastmasters Club. The mission of every Toastmasters Club is to provide a supportive and positive learning environment in which members are empowered to develop their communication and leadership qualities, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Before we proceed to the meeting, we have to follow three basic ground rules. Please switch off your mobile phones or put it in silent mode. Do not speak about sex, religion, politics while the speaker is on stage. If you want to pass any message, please use the chat box given below. Now I welcome our President Toastmaster Abhilash.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Naveen, for those warm words. A very good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. All right, we'll have guests joining us soon, I guess. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to meet number 803 of Chennai Toastmasters Club. On that warm note, let me declare open meeting number 803. We are happy to have with us our Area C4 Director DTM Venu Neelakantan and our District Mentor Pool Chair DTM Neena John. Welcome. And so, having done all this, let us now proceed on towards today's meeting. Now, today's Toastmaster of the day is a face that needs no introduction, not just to CTM, but to anyone in D120. So, fondly called as the grandmother of D120, a past district governor and a past chief judge, and one of the charter members of Chennai Toastmasters Club, DTM Neena John is going to be our host for the entire evening. So I'm sure all of us are excited to see how she's going to take us all through this evening. Over to you, DTM Neena John. The virtual stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Presiding Officer and President of the club, Toastmaster Abhilash. It's a pleasure being a Toastmaster today after such a long time. It's been, I don't know how long it is, but it's an absolute pleasure going through the entire meeting. All I'd like to say is we have a standard procedure for Toastmasters across the world. So we have more than 14,000 clubs across the world. You can walk into any Toastmaster meeting and you will be welcomed with the same kind of chaos right before the meeting. Where is the DE? What happened to speaker number one? Where is our evaluator? And then you'll feel absolutely at home and you'll realize, yes, this is Toastmasters all over the world. We have exactly the same structure. We have prepared speeches, evaluations, and table topics either in that order or in whichever order the club prefers. Right. So those are just about the different things that Toastmasters allows you to do in terms of flexibility of structure, and you can decide how you want to do that. Now, what is the prepared speeches all about? A lot of people think they have come to Toastmasters to learn public speaking. And yes, the prepared speeches allow you to prepare speeches, which is a very self-explanatory term. But on what basis do you prepare these speeches? Topics can be whatever you want, even sex, politics, and religion, so long as they are not controversial, provocative, or vulgar. It depends on how you approach the subject. But you have to present these projects from what we call the Pathways Manuals. These are a set of 15 different paths that Toastmasters International has, each of which covers a different area of expertise. It covers your basics in terms of communication and leadership. It builds on your expertise in different areas and allows you to practice these. So I would request each of you to go through your pathways, understand the long-term vision of why you have picked a particular path and how do your electives help you with that. So make sure you cover your pathways with your mentor and understand what are the different electives, what is my paths. From there, and each of your speeches will be evaluated by another member of the club who will do this evaluation on the basis of criteria again provided in the manuals for your project. From there, we move on to table topics, which is accepting the fact that life is not a series of prepared speeches. I'm sure all of you know, coming home from school, you have a big speech prepared to tell your parents about how you had this great big lousy report card, and your parents will surprise you. Or a spouse will come home with a big prepared speech as an excuse, and the other person will surprise them with something different. So are you prepared for any eventuality at home, at the office, or anywhere else? That's what all these 3 sessions are for. Today, we're going to also have a special panel discussion, which is how we learn different skills in public speaking. And for that, we have a special section. But no Toastmasters meeting is complete or done by one person. We have a series of people, we have teams that work together, and I have with me a team called the General Evaluators team, which consists of the timer, our counter, and grammarian, and a team of evaluators for the speeches. So let me call upon the General Evaluator today, a prosthodontist with a charming smile who's been with us for a long time in Toastmasters CTM. She will take us through what are all the different aspects of each team. So today I will hand you over to Madam Toastmaster Ashwini. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, DTM Nina John, for the warm introduction. Hello, everyone. This is Toastmaster Ashwini here. I'm your General Evaluator of the Day. Every Toastmasters meeting has a General Evaluator for the same reason as what DTM Nina John had mentioned. Just like as every school year ends with a report card, or every company has got an year-end appraisal. Wait, no, I don't mean to scare you people, but we are here to see where we stand. As a general evaluator, my role is to evaluate the entire meeting today and to give a comprehensive report of what went good, what did not, and most importantly, what could have been done in order to improve the quality of the meeting so that we stand apart from the rest of the Toastmasters and we set ourselves unique and the best. Assisting me in this role today are 2 teams. One is the speech evaluation team, and I will introduce my speech evaluation team in the later part of the meeting. The next team is TAG team, as DTM Nina John had mentioned. T stands for timer, A for a counter, and G for grammarian. So let me introduce to my TAG team round. Our timer today is Toastmaster Bharat Kumar. He's an IT professional having 10 years of experience and is currently working at DICES as technical architect. And he's recently joined Toastmaster. So let us all welcome Toastmaster Bharat first to CTM meeting and to brief about his role and his responsibilities. Toastmaster Bharat, over to you.
Thank you, General Evaluator Ashwini. Greetings to fellow Toastmasters and guests. As a timer, I will time all the table topic speakers, speeches, and evaluations. And I will also alert each and every speaker with the time they have left by using green, yellow, and red cards which denote specific time remaining. For example, if the allocated time for a speaker is 5 to 7 minutes, at 5 minutes, I will raise green card. At 6 minutes, I will raise yellow card. At the time 7 minutes, I will raise green cards. At additional, we are providing 30 minutes grace time. So where I will show up time up card, which means that speaker is disqualified. At the end of the meeting, I will report each and every speaker time taken by them upon the general evaluator has been called. With that, thank you, and back to you, General Evaluator Ashwini.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bharat, for briefing about the timing role. So now let me introduce to you the counter of the day, Toastmaster Naveen Raj. He is working as a lead testing engineer at Ravel HitKits Private Limited, Chennai. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. And his hobbies include reading books and watching movies. And I must use this opportunity to say he is very great at organizing roles. How many of you here agree with me? Yes. And for all the upcoming meetings, he is the role manager working behind the screens. So over to you, Toastmaster Nami.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ashwini, General Evaluator, for the warm welcome. As a counter, the purpose of counter is to note the overused words or filler sounds used as scratch by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Words may be inappropriate interjections such as and, well, but, so, and you know. Sounds may be ha, and er. When called upon by the General Evaluator, I will submit my counter's report. Over to you, General Evaluator, Toastmaster Ashwini.
Thank you, Toastmaster Naveen. Now, let me introduce our grammarian of the day. He's none other than our distinguished Toastmaster, Venu Neelakandan. Toastmaster Venu is currently working at Airport Authority of India, and he's the club mentor of Tain Tamil Club and area director of C4. He is Toastmaster since 8 years. Earlier, when I asked him this morning why he had taken up this role of grammarian, he mentioned that though having been in the Toastmaster Club for the past 8 years, this role helped him improve his listening skills. And I think we should all learn to improve our skills by learning to participate even in this minor roles, just like what Toastmaster Venu Neelakandan is doing now today. So now let us hear more from him about his roles and his responsibilities. Over to you, Toastmaster Venu.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Good afternoon. Small correction, it's not a minor role. This is the major role. This is the way you can improve everyone's language. You have a lot of responsibility. With that, today I'm playing the role of the grammarian, and my duty is to take care of the good usage and not so good usage in the English language. And I will submit my report at the end of the meeting during the evaluation session. As a grammarian, it's my duty to introduce the word of the day also. Today, the word of the day is copious. That means plenty or large amounts of something. Though we don't have copious participation, we have a copious role players. So I request every role players to use the word of the day as much as possible, because there's a copious ways you can use the word copious, because thereby we can ensure that we are using the copious word in the copious times. So with that, let me hand over the control back to the General Evaluators. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Venu Neelakandan, for using the word copiously many times. And let us all use the word copious and let the copious rain flow over our meeting. So with this, I hand over the control to Toastmaster of the day, DTM Nina John.
Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator. And it's nice to have copious laughs at the beginning of this entire meeting, because well, laughs are always better than tears. So let's have fun. And I think that's what Toastmaster meetings are all about. Edutainment, as I call it. Enjoy yourself and learn while you're doing that. So on that happy note, we move on to the first section that we have. We're going to have our prepared speech. So we have Toastmaster Kuttikrishnan, who is he works in the railways, studied in MCC school over here, is interested in spirituality and motivation, and he is being evaluated by Toastmaster Vignesh. So may I request Toastmaster Vignesh to please read out the objectives of Toastmaster Srikanth Kuttikrishnan's speech. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, DTM Nina John. Toastmaster Srikanth Kuttikrishnan is going to deliver a speech in Motivational Strategies Pathway, Level 4 and elective project in Public Relationship Strategies. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice the skills needed for effective use of public relations strategies for any group or situation. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspects of his or her public relations strategies. The time limit for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Yeah, back to TMD.
Thank you. Introducing Toastmaster Kuttikrishnan. It's all about publicity. It's all about publicity. Srikanth Kuttikrishnan. Sir, you're on mute. Yes.
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Neena John. 23 million passengers every single day, 3 million tons of freight, 13,000 trains crisscrossing the length and breadth of India. This is your Indian Railways. Good afternoon, Toastmasters, friends, and guests. To have such a massive organization in the world under a single management, employing close to 2 million people and close to 7 lakh people who are being employed through various outsourced activities of railways. This is something which is really mind-boggling for all of us to come to terms with. And I have been gifted or blessed to be a part of this organization. When we talk about such huge organizations, there is always a chance that there could be some areas where there is a lack of service or disruption of service between the organization and the public, who are very inquisitive right now. And that's where the public relations of Indian Railways steps in. It's always the mission of the Public Relations Department of Indian Railways to serve its commitment and to move forward with pride. And each one of us who have been a part of this organization have been dedicated to this mission of public relations. Let me share with you one of the greatest public relations efforts that the whole of Indian Railways had performed just the last year. Of course, there are many areas where public relations have been in the forefront for Indian Railways, not only through the print media, the social media, but also through the word of the mouth. March 2020, we were all hit by this pandemic, and India faced with a peculiar problem of the migrant laborers to get back to their homes. It was a panic situation everywhere, and none of us could get into terms on how to handle the situation. But that is where the Public Relations Department of Indian Railways stepped into. The government of India was very proactive at that time and made all the efforts that the trains would be carrying all of these migrant laborers wherever they wanted to go. And they were all literally carried for free of cost. And the advertisement was mainly through word of the mouth and the print media and the social media. The revenue that was to be paid to the Indian Railways were partially put by the state government, and the rest of the payment is still waiting to come to the coffers of Railway Ministry. We in Indian Railways had carried 64 lakh migrant workers in a span of 6 to 7 months, literally feeding each and every one of them, serving them about 1.75 crores of meals through the entire operation. It was not an easy task. It was an effort, but in the forefront was the public relations. And not with that, even when it came to the health of the people of this country, the Indian Railway Organization, through its public department, public relations department, came forward to keep us informed that vaccination drive is being started first in the central health services and the government hospitals, and especially in Chennai, it was started first in the Railway Hospital, Perambur. All this could have not been known to the public at large, only because of the effort of the Public Relations Department of Indian Railways. I can continue doing this. I can speak volumes about the organization that we are all proud to be. But what I would like to share with you is that each one of you are a public relations personnel for the organization that we are proud to be, Toastmasters International. We are carrying forward a vision of the founder of our organization, Ralph C. Smedley, when he had the vision to empower people to communicate and to become leaders. And all of you are fortunate that we have the training to step into the world, which requires each one of you not just to be a public relation personnel, but to be a person with responsibility carrying forward this vision. The world needs each and every Toastmaster now as a PR for the organization that we are working with. The leaders that is required for the world, which is facing so much of challenges, is there from each one of us. The teachers that we can become, and from that we can become great leaders. We have a responsibility that the vision and the mission of the Toastmasters International is to have respect, integrity, service, and also to have empathy and enhance people's lives. So it is not just the person outside who's associated with public relations who has to do the job, but each one of you listening to me here have a responsibility to go out and to touch people's lives and change their lives and become a source of change. What our founding father, Ralph C. Smedley, had a vision. And I'm sure each one of you would agree with me that our journey of touching people's lives and becoming the agent of change has just dawned on each and every one of us. I request you not to just carried away with the organization that I spoke about, but you have a story of public relations that you have to share with the generation that is following us. You have to make a change and touch people's lives and live the legacy of Ralph C. Smedley. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Back to the Toastmaster of the day, D.T.M. Meena.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Kuthukrishnan, for reminding us that as Toastmasters, we are each and every one of us brand ambassadors of Toastmasters. How we carry ourselves in public, how we carry ourselves during the meeting, and how professionally we behave during meetings or anywhere else is an example of what Toastmasters has taught us. And just running a meeting in Toastmasters gives you so much in terms of input. You don't even realize how much you are unconsciously taking back to the office. And I hope everyone remembers that and realizes this when we go back. Our next speaker is actually is doing her presentation mastery, and her project is to conduct a panel discussion. Now, a lot of people are like, I've come here to deliver a speech on my own. Why do I need to know what a panel discussion is all about? And this is exactly what I want to reiterate. Toastmasters has so many different projects that will carry you forward in your personal and professional life. And this is one of the skills that you learn, how to conduct a panel discussion on a particular topic and understand how a panel discussion is different from a group discussion, an interview, or any of those things. May I request the evaluator, Toastmaster Abhilash, to read out the objectives for Madam Toastmaster Geeta Shroff's project, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. A very warm good evening once again, fellow Toastmasters. My target speaker for the day is going to deliver her panel discussion project from the part Presentation Mastery, which is an elective for her level 5. So the purpose of this project is for the member to apply his or her skills as a public speaker and leader to facilitate a panel discussion. All the best, Toastmaster Geeta. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Presiding Officer Abhilash. Our panel moderator today is Madam Toastmaster Geeta Shroff, who bills herself as a housewife and a homemaker, but believe me, she's a woman of myriad talents, has been taking full advantage of the Toastmasters programs to build up her personal skills in many ways. And she's a reader, she's a tutor, and she loves motivating young minds and loves reading. So we will hear from Madam Toastmaster Geeta Shroff. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Meena ma'am, for such a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much once again. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It was around 11:30 p.m. and I received a call from my niece. I panicked because the last time she had called up so late was when my sister was having palpitations that required immediate attention. Hurriedly, I answered the call. And you know what? I could hear an emotional burst from the other end. What happened, Tanya? Why are you crying? I asked as my voice trembled. Hope everything is fine at home. She said, Masi, everybody is torturing me. It's so suffocating to be living over here. Papa needs just no reason to shout at me, and Mama and Papa are always shouting at me all the time. Mama wants me to study, and only study all the time. And please, I just cannot stay here for a few more minutes also. Please tell Mama that she should allow me to go to Krishita's house. But Tanya, isn't it too late for you to go to your friend's house? I reasoned. It's not safe for you. No, Masi, I've already booked my cab. The driver is on the way and Krishita is waiting. She had been very adamant. She just refused to listen and we had no choice but let her go. I could understand that she was going through all of this. The family itself, in fact, was going through a lot of pressure because the father had lost his job and it was during the lockdown period. My sister, after a few minutes, I happened to speak to her. She was also inconsolable. This particular incident had left me disturbed a lot. So many questions, so many thoughts came into my mind, but I was not able to make any sense out of any of these questions. Friends, recently I happened to read a beautiful book. The name of the book is Emotional Intelligence, Why It Matters More Than the IQ, by Daniel Goleman. So this is a wonderful book which gave me a lot of insight about what exactly is emotional intelligence. I understood that emotional intelligence is something like it is an ability for all of us, which is required by all of us to be able to manage and handle our emotions and to handle the emotions of the people around us. I was also able to connect the dots to whatever was happening with in my sister's place. I realized that my niece, who was very good at academics, was not able to fail when it came to controlling her emotions. She was not able to control her emotions or manage her emotions. The same I could say with my sister and her father also. They were also not able to really manage their emotions. While it is expected for the child to empathize with what the father was going through, it was also important for the family to understand what a child was going through, and they had extended it to an extent to which she could not bear, to an extent that she could not bear it, she could not take it anymore. So had they all been emotionally intelligent, high on the emotionally intelligence part, then each one of them would have behaved differently. And I understand that the things wouldn't have taken such an ugly turn. I also understood that this emotional intelligence is the need for the other. I have therefore chosen my topic as emotional intelligence. And it is my privilege today to have with us distinguished Toastmaster Neena John, distinguished Toastmaster Venu, and Toastmaster Punit, who will be joining and together in the panel discussion. And together we will go in depth into the topic and understand more about what emotional intelligence is. So before we move on, let me give a formal introduction about our distinguished panelists. Our first panelist is distinguished Neena John. To tell you all a few words about distinguished Toastmaster Neena John, distinguished Toastmaster Neena John is a charter member of the Toastmasters Club and the first area and division and district governor of Toastmasters Club Tamil Nadu. She also has been the former chief judge under the District 82, and she is currently the mentor pool chair of District 120. She is also the author of the book Navigating Corporate Seas, a book on management tools and techniques. She loves mentoring, and she's an executive coach for public speaking and live speaking skills. So distinguished Toastmaster Neena John will tell us how intelligence level can impact us in the society level. We also have with us distinguished Toastmaster Venu, who's working with Airports Authority of India, Chennai. Yeah. And he's also, his designation is a regional secretary at the Airports Finance Employees Association. Distinguished Toastmaster Venu also has been a part of Toastmasters Club for more than 7 years. And he's also served as the president of the club. And he's currently serving as the coach for the Downtown Speakers Forum. The third panelist for today's evening is going to be Toastmaster Punit. Toastmaster Punit has worked with Mahindra Automobiles for quite a number of years, and currently he's involved in his own family business in Coimbatore. He's a Toastmaster since 5+ years, and he's also a table topics champion, and at the time he had also represented our club in the district level for the Toastmasters contest, table topic contest. So before, now that I have formally introduced all to the panelists, I will move on to Toastmaster Neena John. So my question, what I need to understand from you is Distinguished Toastmaster Neena John. While it is important for us to have to be emotionally intelligent on the personal level, is it also important, or how important it is to manage or maintain our relationships or maintain a healthy relationship with the people around us? So how does it exactly impact us on the society level? Could you please throw light on, give your feedback on all of these?
Thank you so much for inviting me onto this panel, Madam Geeta Shroff. It's a pleasure to be here, and a topic that I think is very much the need of the hour. There's an old story about a boss who shouted at one of the employees. So what did the employee do? He went home and he yelled at his wife. His wife was very upset, so she threw a shoe at the dog. The dog didn't know what to do, so he barked at the cat. And the cat was so annoyed it went chasing the rat. So the story shows us how events that affect us personally, if we cannot react to them in a mature, civil manner, we tend to take out our emotions on people nearest to us. We tend to deflect the negative parts of that, because I can't get mad at the boss. I can't do anything, but I'm the boss in my house, so I can yell at my wife and all of those things. So emotional intelligence is also a question of control. And what emotional intelligence is, according to Daniel Goleman, is 3 things. One is self-awareness, self-regulation, and the ability to understand others' emotions. These are the 3 things that help us to understand, what am I feeling now? What can I do about these feelings? Is the other person responsible for what I am saying or doing? Is there something that I can do? If so, what can I do for that? So emotional intelligence is something that all of us need. Those of us, many families have been in lockdown during this Corona period, and people will realize you can have degrees from IIT, IIM, even Harvard, but it's not necessarily the toppers who are running the best companies. The people management skills of different chief executives is how people decide whether they will stay in a company for a long time or they will keep upping jobs. And that's what we really want, because your emotional intelligence as an individual and as a boss can affect your family, your company, everything else. Back to you, Madam.
So that was it was very nice to hear from you, DTM Neena John, that it is very important for all of us to have emotional intelligence. So it can impact us in all areas. So it is better for us to be aware of our emotions. Only when we are aware of our emotions, we will be able to regulate our emotions. In short, we will be able to control our emotions. So this is the first step towards becoming successful in our life, or even leading a very happy and a fruitful life. Now we will move on to our next panelist, who is the Distinguished Toastmaster Venu. So Distinguished Toastmaster Venu, so my question to you is it important that even as children, the children should also learn to manage their emotions? And could you please tell us, like, Is it like how differently the emotional intelligent children do than the children who are not really emotionally intelligent?
Thank you, moderator, Toastmaster Geeta. Yes, today most of the parents think that they are giving everything to their kids. They are giving the best education, they are giving the best food, everything. They feel that they are fulfilling every requirement of the kids, but unfortunately, they fail to understand. They fail to give one paramount important things to their kids. That's a time. They are not spending their time with their kids. They are not ready to hear what their kids feeling. So that's why we are seeing most of the time that 15 years old, the 10th standard student, they are committing suicide. The 12th standard students, they are committing suicide. The reason? They can't score good marks. They can't pass the NEET exams. This is the way we need to understand how important the emotional intelligence for kids, particularly the children. As DTM Nina said, there are 5 components for the emotional intelligence. One is self-awareness, another is self-regulation, and next is empathy, next is motivation, and the last one is social skills. Unfortunately, at this age, being a children, they are not mature enough to understand their emotion. That's a self-awareness. So it's a parent's duty to inform them, to understand their emotion. And next is self-regulation. They don't understand how to regulate their emotion, how to show their emotion in the right place, in the right way. So it's a parent's duty to let them understand how to utilize their emotion properly. And that motivation also is very important. So we have to motivate the kids to improve their good quality. And last one, the empathy. That's a very, very important for today's generation, because unfortunately, even the adults, we are lacking that because we don't understand others' emotions. So as a kid, it is our duty to inform them. Others also will feel the pain. Once you are making everything clear, that social skill, automatically they will learn how to be a socially responsible citizen in the society. So it's as a parent, it's our duty to ensure that our kids are getting all the emotional intelligence and how they are handling it in the society. Thank you for the opportunity. Back to you.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Venu, for enlightening us that emotional intelligence come to play even when the child is small. Even right from the age of their childhood, the children have to be raised as emotionally intelligent. And it all zeroes down to how the parents are bringing up their children. So that's exactly what we've understood from whatever the insight that you gave us, that it is first and foremost the parents' responsibility to inculcate these habits. That means the children should be they should be taught to label their feelings, their emotions, understand what they are going through. And only when they understand, they will also be able to regulate the feelings. At the same time, distinguished Toastmaster Venu told us that it is also important to teach a child that not only the child should be able to understand his or her emotions, but the child should also be able to understand or empathize with what his friend or the other child might be going through at that point. So I think this is where we should start, because today's children are again tomorrow's leaders. So if we want to bring a healthy tomorrow, we will have to start right from the childhood days. That was a wonderful insight from you, distinguished Toastmaster Venu. Now we will move on to our third panelist. Our third panelist is Toastmaster Puneet. Toastmaster Puneet, let me tell you all a few words about Toastmaster Puneet. Toastmaster Puneet, he's a visiting Toastmaster, and he's currently a part of the Pune Toastmasters Club. Now, Toastmaster Puneet, here's a question for you. Is it important only for the CEOs and the senior managers or the leaders to be emotionally intelligent? Or is this a quality important at every level of a person's career, right from the college students who are doing their internship to whatever post that they are taking over? And could you please help us how it can impact the professional lives?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Geeta. Let me borrow the words of wisdom from DTM Nina ma'am, DTM Venu, and in your own words. When you said today's children are tomorrow's leaders, today's people who are starting their careers are tomorrow's CEOs. Just extending the train of thought which you have already shared. And having said that, it's extremely important that to ours as a generation, which is extremely hyper oversensitive at times. Hate to admit, Geeta ma'am, you were right. In fact, DTM Venu was also right that we are a little insensitive, and I do admit it. And yet, at the same time, answering to your question, how it impacts in our professional life. Let me share one of my colleague, Sangeet, who is now in Canada right now. I was fortunate to work with him for 1 year. And adding on to what Neena ma'am said, he had all these three qualities. He was self-aware, he self-regulated his emotion, and at the same time, he was able to empathize with our future colleagues as well, with our team as well. For example, he was extremely self-aware as to what is happening around our team. He would go out and ask for help to people. And when times were wrong, for example, when things were challenging, when there are emotional outbursts which comes, right? We are all humans. It's natural for us to shout, even at our colleagues at times, but not at our boss. We control during that time. We approach our senior, and then we open up. So he was, in a way, he was able to regulate his emotion with the help of someone. And at the same time, what I loved about Sangeet the most was that he was hyper when it comes to networking. Whether it was this team or that team, he never left anyone in the organization. Right from security guard to the CEO, he had contacts with everyone. Because he knew this value of this important principle that your net worth is dependent on your network, and network comes when you actively take part interest in other people's activities, not like neighboring aunties or relatives, but genuinely interested in helping other people solve their problems. So Sangeet was a good example for me when it comes to how a person should be when it comes to emotional intelligence. So borrowing from your words, Geeta ma'am, it's very important. People who are starting their journey are tomorrow's future CEO, leader, father, mother, could be anyone. And yes, it does play a role. And back to you, moderator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Puneet, for that was a really wonderful input on your side. Let me summarize what you tried to say. You said that it is very important for all of us at all levels to have emotional intelligence. And it is more, you also talked about a live story about your friend who's been an inspiration to you. You also told us that this particular friend of yours is a problem solver. So basically, all this problem solving skills again comes with the emotional intelligence. Because he was emotionally intelligent, at some point he was able to empathize with others. He was able to understand what problems the people around him were going through, and he was able to do all of this for his colleagues or whoever he was working with. So this, dear fellow Toastmasters and guests, so this particular skill, emotional intelligence, it can impact us at all levels, be it social, be it professional levels, and it can even affect the children, impact the children. Because we have noticed that even the socially intelligent children do so much better than what the other children do. And while yes, I would like to add another point to it, that while we all are very stressed upon, having our IQs right, it is important that IQ should be right. While the IQ can take us to a particular job, but it is only EQ or the emotional quotient that is going to help us see success, and it is also going to help us to have a better relationship with all the people around us. Now that we have learned that emotional skill is so much important for all of us, I thought we will have an open discussion where I put forward the question to all my panelists, DTM Meena John, Distinguished Toastmaster Venu, and Puneet, like, can this skill be learned? Or it is just that a few of us are emotionally intelligent and we will move in that direction, while a few of us who are not really emotionally intelligent, we will continue to remain the same? Or is it easily accessible or learned? Yes, thank you so much, Zoom Master, for spotlighting all of us. Thank you so much. So, do you have any?
Yes,
Yes, thank you for the first batsman opportunity. Yeah, it's really great. Yeah, See, most of the time, what I suggest that, particularly, let me start with the kids, or most of the time we are putting them under a stress because we are expecting too much from them. We want them, we are grooming them as a race course. We are asking them that to see the neighbor's kids. He's good at studies. Why you are not studying well? See, this is a way comparison. They are just started feeling inferiority complex or something. They are not ready to share something with us. They feel themselves inferior to others. That's the way we have to first we have to develop as a parents, as an adult, we have to develop and we have to know about the self-awareness of that emotion, how it will affect, and we have to regulate it. So once we are good, we can make the kids, or we can make the kids understand what they actually want. For example, my 5-year daughter, sometimes she would come to me and she would laugh. And at that time, I would be so busy. I can't spend my time, but still she wants to share that joke or something, the funny thing. So at that time, if I listen to her, it might be a silly joke. But behind that, I can teach her something. For example, one day she came to me and she laughed and she wanted to share that moment. I asked her, what? You know, Vijita fell down. It was so hilarious. Then I said, yeah, it's a good, but at the same time, you have to understand when she fell down, she might have felt the pain also. So you should not laugh at others whenever they are falling. So if possible, just help them. See, it's a very silly incident, but at the same time, I utilize that place, that incident, to teach her a very important lesson in her life. So I might have spent only 1 minute, but I made a very great impact in my daughters. So this is the way we have to understand. So most of the time, what we think that we are becoming machines. Machines are becoming human. That's the way we have to change. So most of the
Totally agree.
Yeah, even today when I talked to Geeta was talking to Elisa. Elisa, stop it. Elisa didn't listen. See, most of the wives are talking to the machines. Their husbands are talking to the neighbor aunties. So
Totally agreed. Yeah, totally agree, distinguished Toastmaster Venu, that as parents, we have to set an example to the child, or we are their first teachers.
Yeah.
Yes, and we can teach them by way of playing,
Thank you.
by way of games. And what do you have to say, Nina ma'am?
Yes, I totally love that teachable moment that Venu used. And I think it's also a function of age. When you're young, you're ready to hop onto the bandwagon and yell at everybody, shout back, fight back, all of those things. You're ready to lead an army or be strident feminist and all that. After a period of time, you're like, okay, it doesn't make that much of a difference. Let me see if I can use words to calm that person down. I don't have to retort for everything. It's like somebody said, how do you get on in your marriage? And the answer is very simple. You pick your battles. So you decide when do you want to fight and when do you not want to fight. So a lot of women are like, okay, I'm going to keep quiet now, but when I get a chance, I will let you know what I'm really upset about. So pick a fight only when it's really important. So those are things that come with age. Those are things that come with maturity. And I would also say being in an organization like Toastmasters teaches you how to handle situations. See, we are all volunteers. So we ask someone to take up a job or a task rather, and they don't do it. We can't pick up the phone and say, you're a useless person. I asked you to do this. What is our deadline? The deadline is over. The club is suffering, blah, 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 blah. We just can't do it. So how do we handle that? So we either get them to understand what the thing is and say that, look, thank you for taking up this assignment. And it's nice to have you on board. Is it okay if you let us have that flyer by next week? Because this is the deadline that we have to release it. Otherwise, the club does not have a flyer for this week. And, it looks very bad if CTM flyers are not out at the right time, or you haven't given your contribution to the magazine, or you haven't done what's right. So the way you put the thing and the language that you learn to put that in, that is important. And that's how you learn over a period of time how to deal with different issues. And this is what I keep saying. Go back to the office and use exactly the same tactics. Thank you so much for taking up the assignment. I'm so happy you did this. Do you think we could do X, Y, Z? Because I know you're stressed. So when you empathize, or when you see, this is a very serious thing. Empathize with the other person, understand their predicament, and say that I can understand why you cannot deliver the way we wanted to, but can we do this and get on with it? So when you empathize, when you're genuine about your empathy, when you're genuine about, what you call the intrapersonal and interpersonal skills, that's when your emotional intelligence quotient is visible. And that's when you will get the job done by, without hurting feelings, doing things like that. Another simple example I can give you, evaluation of speeches. Make it a point of understanding that you are evaluating the speech and not the person. This is what happened in the speech. This is what I think we can improve. This is how, so then you're not saying, you're an idiot who doesn't know how to structure the speech properly. And this is, you've been in Toastmasters for so long. See, there's a difference in the tone. There's a difference in the way of approach. When you say that, look, that speech could have been restructured. Let's see if we had, this story in the beginning and that at the end. You're giving a constructive suggestion about the speech. You're not finding fault with the speaker. So that's
Totally
intelligence.
Totally agreed, Neena ma'am. So what you said is, first and foremost, this emotional intelligence can come with maturity also. So as we mature, we are mature enough to handle a certain situations. You also gave us a few, an understanding that it is very important to communicate in a very positive way. So first empathize with what somebody is going through and put it in a proper way, and then you will have better outcomes. So that was really wonderful on your part. Moving on to Puneet, do you have something to share, Puneet?
When the gurus have spoken, what can I add further? But having said that, I just want to borrow some words from Neena ma'am when she said about, in fact, when one of the questions which you shared, is it a skill which can be learned? So answering to that question, yes, it is a skill which you can learn. And I have learned it the harsh way in Toastmasters. When I was secretary in Chennai Toastmasters Club, I'm pretty sure Naveen Raj would know this incident the best among all of us out here. And I can see Abhirami laughing as well, because I had a very, it was like personally my fault. I was completely at fault. There was issues, it was personally from my side, will not explain much in the interest of time. But that issue was that I was supposed to send out a joint MOM between Chennai Speakers Forum and Chennai Toastmasters Club. And due to some professional commitment, I was not able to submit on time. And I was delaying. And then John, who is a very nice guy, Toastmaster John Sherlin, I still admire him. I was fortunate to work under him, under his leadership. So John and we got into a little bit of argument, which created a lot of challenge and chaos in the group. Naveen was a silent witness to that incident, but he knows the entire story really well. But that day, during that incident, when I went home and I realized that, why did I got angry here? I should have submitted the MOM on time. I should have emotionally handled the situation really well. I shouldn't have gotten into personal argument with the president of our Chennai Toastmasters Club. So friends, Toastmasters is the best place to learn. You can, and yes, you know a lot more when you go through that situation. And yes, it's a learnable skill, but provided you reflect on those experiences.
Thank you so much.
I think this is what, and yes, just to add on, because of that conflict, I apologize to John, and John has been one of my best friends after that. So yes, if you can resolve your conflicts well, you can find best friends in Toastmasters also. Back to you, Toastmaster Geeta.
Thank you, Toastmaster Puneet. Finally, we are all Toastmasters and we have to relate everything to whatever is happening with the Toastmasters. And in fact, Toastmasters is definitely a great forum where we can learn so many of our skills. Having said that, you also mentioned that this skill is learned. So the essence of your message was, if you take a little time before you react, you will actually be responding in a really better manner, and wherein you will not have to regret for whatever you have said or done. In short, Toastmasters is this one forum where your leadership skills gets tuned, I think. This is one particular forum. And yes, so it was an interesting session with DTM Neena John and Puneet and DTM Venu. So I just thought we could take 1 or 2 questions maximum from the audience. You can kindly put it on the chat box. I think we will be able to take 1 or 2 questions. I'm sure our panelists will be ready to answer these questions. Thank you.
Toastmaster Geeta, I have a question. Abhirami here.
Yes, Abhirami.
Yeah. So one thing about emotional intelligence is these days we, feel that we can read a book and get emotionally intelligent. But sometimes I see that some people who are very young are very emotionally intelligent. There are people who are aged, they are also emotionally intelligent. So it is like sometimes it's the other way around also. They may be very aged, but still not much. So you may not be able to define it with either age or by people reading a book. They may be highly intelligent in a technical manner, but emotional intelligence may be very low. So if someone wants to become emotionally intelligent, apart from reading a book, is there anything else that the panel feels that they could do?
Yes.
Can you repeat once again? Like what happened?
No, if someone feels that they want to become emotionally intelligent, what is something that they could do apart from reading that book? What is something that first that they can start
Just
in their first steps?
First step, I think seniors out there will be better able to answer this question. But I feel that knowledge is useless unless used. Reading a book, and if you are not implementing, is as equal to as not reading a book at all. But having said that, the best way is to start somewhere. But I think Neena ma'am and Venu sir will be able to answer this question a lot more better.
Puneet, we're not fountains of wisdom on everything, okay? We assume that you're a younger person with a lot of emotional intelligence.
I think distinguished Toastmaster Venu has something to say. Maybe you can help us because.
Yeah, for that I would like to quote an Thirukkural. That's very clearly 2000 years ago. He very clearly mentioned that Kural is Kunam Nadi Kutamum Nadi Avatu Migai Nadi Mukkakola. This is what we want to learn. Let me explain it. Before judging a person, first you have to understand what are the good things he might have done, what are the bad things. Sometimes he happened to do that. So before judging a person, he's a good person or he's a bad person, he might have done 1,000 good things to you. By misfortune, because of some reason, he might have done something which might be hurting you. But we come to a conclusion that that person is bad. He's not good. But we totally forget about the 1,000 things he did. So this is the wrong thing, because most of the time we have to understand maturity is something, if somebody is hurting us, not shouting back. We have to understand why they are shouting. What's the reason, underlying reason. Sometimes they might be in a position that you can't understand. So first, as a human, we have to understand others' emotion. That's empathy. We have to understand. Once you try to understand others' emotion, you will not take any decision. You will not lose your relationship. So for that, no book is required. Just have the open mind to accept others' views also. That's my point. So you don't require any book.
So I think Toastmaster Abhirami, by now you must have got your answer. You can only take a horse. Yes, ma'am, please.
Right. I just wanted to say Daniel Goleman himself says the first step towards emotional intelligence is self-awareness. Be aware of your feelings. Then you talk about self-regulation. Then once you analyze your feelings and like Puneet did, go back and understand why did he flare up? Was it, very often he was guilty of not doing the MOM. So the easiest thing to do is shout at the other person. Right? So I'm just using you as an example. So the fact that he understood that he was shouting out of guilt and the fact that he had the maturity to apologize shows his level of emotional intelligence. And when you have this kind of self-awareness, so self-regulation and empathy, then you're well on the way to do it. So all you're doing is practicing what Daniel Goleman has simply written out in modern English, what Venu was talking about, what all of us are talking about. But self-awareness and self-regulation, empathy, these are the three main things that will help you understand other people's point of view and get on with becoming an emotionally intelligent person. Back to you.
So that is why it's rightly said that getting angry is not a mistake. It's nothing wrong in getting angry, but getting angry at the right person, at the right time, for the right purpose, at the right degree is equally important. And that's something which is very difficult. So like as our panelists, they have all explained to us that emotional intelligence is definitely a skill which is the most needed skill, in fact, and a need of the hour during the current scenario, at least the current, whatever we are going through these days. So it is very important for us to understand, to be aware of our emotions. So once we are aware of our emotions, we will be able to label our emotions. Like I'm angry, I'm feeling frustrated, I am sad. So actually this step from being aware to being labeling your emotion itself will give you enough time to think and reflect upon your emotions. And that is where you will know to regulate your emotions. And once we are all able to regulate our emotions, our life is going to take a very good turn. In fact, we will not see a lot of things that are happening with us today. So this particular book has been a very good eye-opener to me. See, all the years I was thinking that, no, I am correct. No, whatever is happening to me or whatever people are doing to me is something what they shouldn't be doing. But once I started reading this book, I really could relate with so many of the things that were happening in my life. I was able to understand that all the while I was only expecting everything from others. I had never even thought about, thinking about how others might be feeling. So this is one awareness which I got. That is one learning, I can say, rather, that we should be aware of what another person is also going through. And once we are aware or try to understand why a particular person is behaving in such a way, maybe he was having a bad day, maybe he was just yelled at by his boss or something, maybe he has lost his pet or whatever may be the reasons, there could be something for him to behave with us in a very different way. So let us take time, pause, label our emotions and self-regulate ourselves. Like how our panelists, Distinguished Toastmaster Neena John, Distinguished Toastmaster Venu and Toastmaster Puneet, they told us that it is the important aspect that comes over here is to be aware of what you are going through. It is not important that you are aware of our own emotions. It is equally important that we are aware of what the other person is going through. And then it will be easy for us to manage our emotions accordingly. So with this, thank you. I once again thank Distinguished Toastmaster Neena John, Distinguished Toastmaster Venu, and Toastmaster Puneet for taking out your valuable time and enlightening the audience and all of us by giving us a deep insight about what emotional intelligence is. So this one big understanding here is this is a skill that cannot be restricted to only a few of us. It can easily be learned, acquired. All it needs, like how DTM Neena John told us, you should be self-aware and then practice. Maybe it will not come overnight. Our continuous efforts, consistent efforts may really help us to be more emotionally intelligent at one point of time. With this, I hand over the control to our Toastmaster of the day, Distinguished Toastmaster Neena John.
Thank you so much, Madam Geeta Shroff. I think all of us would have had a lot of awakening, a lot of eye-opening, ideas that came. I hope everyone enjoyed that. And I hope we have ideas that you can take back. Feel free again, as we said, to write your questions in the chat box, those who are guests, or the others can write it in the WhatsApp group when we get back. So emotional intelligence being one of the most important qualities of a leader. And in Toastmasters, we say Toastmasters is where we make leaders. I hope that has given you an insight into a learnable skill. And of course, as already pointed out, there's a copious amount of literature on the subject. Daniel Goleman is one of the foremost leaders in that field, but plenty of things available, lots of online groups as well. So there's another person called Joshua Friedman. Feel free to look up all these things on the net and go ahead with learning on your own. We move on now to what can be the pet love or the pet hatred of Toastmasters the world over. Table topics. It's the one where one ghastly person called a table topics master flings a topic at you and you have to decide, can I catch this hot potato or do I pass it on to somebody else? Do I prove that I'm a good speaker or can I disappear under the ground when someone asks me a question? So Toastmasters table topics tests your thinking on your feet. And remember, this is the secret weapon we have that nobody else has. When your boss asks you a question and you don't know the answer, use your table topic skills. If you can't convince them, confuse them. Over to you, Toastmaster, Table Topics Master, Sri Lakshmi Narayanan, who's a software engineer and has been in Toastmasters for quite a few years. Over to you, sir. You're on mute. Lakshmi, you're on mute.
I'm sorry, I'm back.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, DTM Meena John. And good evening, Toastmasters and guests. And I'll be your table topic master for today. And we've seen a couple of fantastic prepared speeches. I mean, one full prepared speeches and one panel discussion with copious amount of information on emotional intelligence. Okay, but in real life, you may not have the luxury of being able to plan and prepare what we are going to say in advance. Right? As DTM Meena John mentioned, that we may have a situation where a boss suddenly asks for a status or opinion in a meeting. So we may not be prepared at that time how to deliver. So there are some more examples of this kind of impromptu speech. So the ability to speak confidently with little preparation is a very valuable skill. And like many like these situations, this comes with a practice as well. So table topic session is one such session, a fun portion for this meeting, I should say. I don't want to scare people. It's a fun portion where it allows you to practice your impromptu speaking skills. Okay. Now, actually, today in this meeting, we will allow every member who does not have a role already and also guests an opportunity to speak in this session. Okay, the rules are simple. Okay, I'll call. Yeah, the rules are simple. I'll call for volunteers one by one, and I give you a topic or a question or a phrase. So you have to speak on the topic for 1 to 2 minutes. So at 1 minute, you'll be shown a green light where you'll be eligible for voting, and 1 minute 30 seconds a yellow, and at 2 minutes a red signal. And you may be given a 30 seconds grace period to wind up your speech. So with this rule set, let me start this table topic session. So I wanted to start with, I got some volunteers also. Let me start with Toastmasters as such. So, so DTM Abraham Zacharias, are you there? DTM Zach? No. Okay.
I think he left.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Then I will go to Abhilash. I think Abhilash volunteered, right? Is Abhilash there?
Yes.
Okay, Abhilash. Then I picked a question specifically for you. Okay, it's a cricket World Cup finals. Okay, it's an imaginary scenario. It's a cricket World Cup finals. The Indian team is into the final match and scheduled to play with the best team in the tournament. So and you are the coach, and you have to deliver a motivational speech to the Indian team players. What would be the speech?
Thank you. A very warm good evening. The time that you're going to play, the next 1 hour that you're going, the next 2 hours that you're going to play is going to determine the story that millions of people, children to aged people, are going to tell of you. You carry the weight of an entire nation upon your shoulders, but let that not distract you from your goal. Today, in those 2 hours, if each and every one of you are going to play to the true best self of yourselves, there is nothing, not even any force, not even God, which can stop you from laying your hands on that cup. Most important, don't get yourself distracted. Your goal is to be simple and clear. Go there and do what you know best. Each of you has a special ability within yourself. And today, more than ever, it is time for you to display that ability to the entire world. And if you do that, each and every one of you are going to be called game changers of the match. Very simple. Go out, Do what you know best, and history will tell the rest. All the best, players. It's now time to move to the match. Great going. Back to you, table topic master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhilash. Do the best, and history will show the rest. That's the best punchline I'm getting out from your table topics. So now moving on to the next speaker. Shall I call guest? Guest Anirudh, are you there?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. So I want to give a very simple topic, more relevant to you are a college student, I know. So I want to give a very simple topic. So what would it take to detach you from your mobile for an entire day? I repeat the question. What would it take to detach you from your mobile for an entire day?
Like, it's a tough question to answer.
Okay, so I'll change the question. I chose this topic because
I'll try, sir. I'll try.
Yeah, no.
Like,
so you want to try the same topic?
Yes, sir. I'll try. Like, first of all, my mobile phone. A mobile phone can be both as a source of distraction and as a source of very good help to all of us, students and everyone. So, like, I also get distracted, but I also use my phone for managing all my work and everything. So if I were to like keep myself away from my mobile phone in particular, I would say I would first that might be seamless for that, like any exams are coming or anything. So in that case, I would simply like avoid using social media on my phone and rather use other managing tasks like Outlook, Task Manager, everything. I would simply stay away from social media for that particular span of time. That's it, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I expected this because usually for students, you feel that distraction of a mobile phone during the exam time. That's where you try to avoid those mobile phones. So, well, you've done a very good job during the first time delivering a table topic session. I appreciate that. So, moving on to the next guest, guest Gandhi, are you there? Yeah.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay. It's another simple topic. Okay. Nobody is perfect. That is why pencils have erasers. Nobody is perfect. That is why pencils have erasers. Over to you, Gandhi.
I guess I have taken a similar kind of topic before. So yes, nobody is perfect. My mom used to say, showing this finger, hand, palm, what do you call it? I'm sorry. So every finger is not the same. So no one is perfect. And I would say even God is not perfect at times. That's why we tend to see handicaps, blinds, and so on. Yes, one should learn from mistakes and grow from there, find opportunities in all mistakes that you do. So yes, learn from mistakes. No one is perfect. And yes, even the scientifically, even the globe is not perfectly sphere in shape. It's kind of, I mean, I'm not sure what that exact shape is. There's a name for it. And yes, again, learn from your mistakes and try to be a perfect and be good, do good. That's it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, you took it the right way. I don't know whether we got the similar topic in the past. Okay, I remember one of the saying from one of my college professor. She used to say, "To err is human, but if the rubber wears out before the pencil, then you're overdoing it." So she used to say all this students were very mischievous in class because we've been repeating the same mistake every time. So I just remember that now. So let's move on to the next speaker. We have one more guest, right? Guest Sivakumar. Yeah. Okay. So are you ready, sir?
Yeah, very good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Hi. So this is again a simple topic. How important is money for a perfect life?
Please, once again, please.
I repeat the question. How important is money for the perfect life?
Oh my goodness. Very good evening to you. And first of all, my apologies for joining a bit late. And my topic, how money makes life perfect. Can I take the topic like that?
Yeah, you can take it that way.
You're talking about money, right? Money.
Yes, money. Yes.
Excellent. Money makes a man. You have no money, you are not there at all. It's the kind of the world we are living in. You can have lots of other high spiritual sayings and all, but in a day-to-day life, if you when you have things in front of you, it is the first vitamin that you need is the money. And then, having said that, one has to be very careful how you make it, how you spend it. So when you have the right means to make money and the right reasons to spend it, if you can look at money as utility, well, we can recount to the same saying that money makes a man. At the same time, one, if develops kind of what do you call arrogance or ego because someone has more money compared to others, then that is something to be discouraged. So one has to be careful about making money and spending money and saving money, and you better make sure that it doesn't kind of master you. Like I just quickly remember an old saying about this: money is a good servant as well as a bad master. So that way, I look at money in this perspectives, and indeed, I can talk really a lot, but with this I would like to stop. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Kumar. Yeah, you indeed covered a lot of things within the 2 minutes time. One thing I take away from your speech is that you said money should bring in more humbleness than arrogance, and you mentioned it as an utility as well. Yeah, that's a point well taken from you. Thank you, Kumar.
Thank you, sir.
And so, is there any volunteer from for the topic session?
TT Master, I can take a topic.
Oh, thank you, sir. Okay, it's for Toastmaster Nanda. Okay. Just a small sentence. I just want to say, ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. What do you, Toastmaster Nanda?
Thank you, Table Topic Master, for the fabulous topic. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. So when we grew up in life, what we think is that we need to learn everything, right? So we want to be the best in the world. And we think that we need to know everything, and knowing everything is what makes us or would help us to move forward in a career, in your life and everything. So whenever you see someone who's more knowledgeable or who's doing good in life, we just feel a hint of sadness within us, saying that, oh, I did not get this, oh, I am not qualified for this, oh, I am not able to get this. But actually, when you make effort and reach that point, then you tend to move towards the next target. You said that, oh, Toastmaster Lakshmi is doing that, Toastmaster, he's doing that, and then you try to move toward the target. But by step, once you move towards the target, and after you see and look back, you see that, oh, that times is much better than what I am here now. So what I have missed in this path is probably which costs more to reach there, right? So it's sort of two sides of a coin. You see that success is what it takes to make a person, but in the path towards the success, what we miss out is then we cannot never gain back in life. For example, in a mad race towards success, mad race towards prosperity, we miss out a lot of other things like spending quality time for yourself, spending quality time for your kids, spending quality time with your family, and spending time on what you think is really important in life. For example, if you become 45 or 50, then you cannot play in the water, right? And you cannot go to the beach and swim in the beach because that age is crossed. That is what I think, that ignorance is sometimes a bliss. Not knowing or not competing with others could be a bliss as well. So as individuals, when we have a target to reach prosperity or reach success, we should also think that, oh, it's good that I am not competing with him. It's good that I am competing with myself. In the process, also enjoying my life and also going after things which I think are important at this point of time and at this age in my life, right? So thank you, Master, for the fabulous topic again. Over to you.
And thank you, Toastmaster Nanda. That was an excellent speech. Because what I take away from your speech is the ignorance what we had in the childhood is the most happiest moment, because spending time with family is most important rather than pursuing for money or going into a race. So many times ignorance is really a bliss, gives us a lot of happiness. And thank you so much for the speech. And now, ma'am, do we have time for one more speaker?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So,
yes, I think Toastmaster Pooja Jain had raised her hand.
yes, okay. Hi, Pooja, this is, I want to give somewhat, okay. It could be something related to what crisis we are going on. It is for Pooja. So in what ways you have changed as a person post-corona crisis? In what way you have changed as a person post-corona crisis? What do you think?
Corona classes actually, initially I had thoughts like I was more workaholic and I thought that work is the only thing that I have to concentrate on. And I was more like, I can say as I told, informed that I was more workaholic. But when then this COVID situation came and when we were all forced to take up work from home, I realized that family is more important. I was like, that changed me. I mean, I was able to spend much time with my family. And that gave me a kind of different happiness, which I found that it was missing when I was continuing with my regular life before COVID. So the one important change that came in was, concentrating more on the personal life, spending time with the family. And thereafter, like post-COVID situation, this one thing is, I have really changed about this. Like now instead of spending more time and like, if you see my work demands, like now also I'm sitting in office, though it's a Sunday. But still, I try that I spend much time with my family. So that is the most important change that came in my life after COVID. That's all.
Thank you, Pooja. Yeah, I completely agree with you because after this COVID lockdown is a time which made us think more about the family, spend more time with families as well. In fact, I got very active with the Toastmaster because of this lockdown. I have to say that's the best benefit out of this lockdown. And if you have time, I can.
Yes, Toastmaster, we have time. We have 10 minutes.
Okay. Is Puneet there? No, I just missed Puneet. So, guest Riju, would you like to take up a topic? Guest Riju? No.
Actually, probably I can go next.
No, you can go, right? Okay, thank you. So I need to find a topic for you. I wanted to give a little complex thing.
Well, what was that?
No, I thought of giving you one complex thing. It's okay. Okay. What are some good rules, good things you follow, which you want to inherit to your next generation? One bad things you don't want your next generation to continue from you. One good thing from you which you want to pass on to your next generation. One bad thing which you don't want the next generation to carry from you.
Oh my God, this is like strength and weakness. That's really, these are things that we work on about whatever the things that are good or our strengths, and the weakness or things that we want to rather change about ourselves. So for me, I think one thing which I think that I should continue or even carry it on to the next generation would be something called believing in myself. Or rather, I would even call it believing in the self beyond ourselves. Some people call it God. Some people call it the mind. There are different ways in which you call it. Some people call it even positivity. So maybe when I started reading this book called Power of the Subconscious Mind, that's when I learned the power of mind. When your mind is very clear and when you're able to focus on something, you're able to manifest it. And when your purpose to achieve that is very pure, then it is just like, like two times of hydrogen and oxygen. My chemical knowledge is weak, but there's this ground rules, right? Like the fundamental rules. H2 and oxygen becomes water. Same in that way, your formula becomes very easier. Whatever you want to achieve just happens by itself with very least effort from your side, because that's what the nature wants. So this belief or this mindset is something that I would want to carry for the rest of my life, and also want my next generations to carry. And in terms of one thing that I wouldn't want to continue is sometimes I become very lazy and I don't want to, I keep procrastinating. So this is one thing I'm working on, and this is one thing that I want my next generation to, maybe I'll correct it so that they wouldn't have it, to work on it. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Over to you, Toastmaster Lakshmi.
Thank you, Abhiravi. Even I have the second part, what you said, right? The procrastination is the biggest problem I have. My mentor knows that very well, how much I push it for. Thank you. So do you have any other volunteers? I know that we have only role players right now. Is any role players willing to take?
Can I go? Provided
Yes.
you give me an easy topic, please.
Can I also intervene for a while?
Yes.
Actually, one of my colleagues is there. He's just observing the session as a guest. So he also want to have a session. So if it's possible.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Is it okay for him to come forward? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, your good name, please?
Karthik Vishwanath, sir.
Hi, Karthik Vishwanath. Welcome to this club. I'll give you a simple topic. Are you a reader?
Yes, sir.
Book reader? Okay. Then I'll give you a simple topic. So what's your favorite line from a book or a favorite line from a movie?
Favorite?
What is your favorite line from a book or a movie? Any favorite lines, any favorite dialogues from book or movie? Which is
yes, I have it.
Yeah. Can you talk about it?
Or what you முடிவு பண்ணிட்டேன்னா என் பேச்சு நானே கேட்க மாட்டேன். That is the thing. Actually, once I've decided, I will not again revisit the decision. This is what I have. This is the movie. This is the dialogue spoken by the Vijay actor Vijay. So why this I'm saying is, so once a person takes a decision, that person should not again look into the decision, because once before taking the decision itself, you should be strong enough and wise enough to take think and take such a kind of a decision. And because and say that that the decision itself, after taking a decision, he should not blame himself that I took a long decision. So he should not blame that. So this is what I. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. It was a good attempt. You really spoke well. Though you introduced a Tamil dialogue, you translate it as well. That's what we always intend in Toastmaster also. Thank you for that. And
thank you, sir.
We have one last speaker, right? Toastmaster Ashwini. Okay. So since you asked for a very simple topic, it's going to be very simple. So after joining Toastmaster, what changes you have witnessed in your profession or in your personal life?
All right. Thank you, Toastmaster Lakshmi, for giving me this topic. It's one of the easiest and I would say a very nice topic to be spoken upon. So before Toastmasters, I mean, I was in my maternity break and I was actually very much busy with my baby, and I was going down in depression thinking, what am I doing with myself? And then my husband suggested me, Ashwini, why don't you join Toastmasters and make use of your Sundays? So that good decision of joining Toastmasters changed my entire other 6 months of my maternity break. I became more organized and I started to interact with more number of people. Apart from dentists, I started making very good non-medical friends with all Toastmastering friends. And I must say, once I started to improve in this aspect of Toastmastering, I started to improve in other aspects of my life as well. I started to tone down to reduce my weight. I started to pick up good habits related to food and exercise. and I started to read many more number of books, and especially I started to read, started to listen audiobooks so that I can improve my communication skills. So it was just one start, and it gave an ignition for my entire lifetime. And thank you, Toastmaster Lakshmi, for giving me the opportunity. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ashwini, because you've been one of the most active member we have seen here. Whatever role you have taken, you have done it with the best effort, and I could see that. So I don't know whether you had these skills before itself or you learned after Toastmasters. Whatever it is, we are benefiting from your efforts. Thank you so much for that. And with that, we come to the end of the interesting table topic session, and I hand over the control back to our Toastmaster of the DTM, Neena Jan.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayan, for that wide array of topics, the kind that could be tackled by anybody and everybody. And I think everyone had a good attempt at trying. So basically, remember, Toastmasters table topics are just a question of how you answer the topic. It is not a syllabus question. So you can go out of the syllabus, you can go against the topic, you can go for it, you can do whatever, you can jump far away from the topic, absolutely not a problem. All we're saying is, can you keep your cool for 2.5 minutes and talk? So that's what table topics is all about. And believe me, it's the most useful ability you can have, like I said, back in the office or anywhere else. With that, we move on to what we call the quality control segment of Toastmasters. Every meeting, we have a general evaluator, and the general evaluator evaluates every aspect of the meeting, has a team of people to help her in this instance, and we ensure that we have a system of continuous improvement in Toastmasters by following the suggestions that the general evaluator has. So let me hand it over back to our general evaluator for the day, Madam Toastmaster Ashwini.
Thank you very much once again, distinguished Toastmaster Neena John. So we have finally come to our evaluation portion of the meeting. The purpose of evaluation is to give both positive comments and suggestions for improvement. All of you would agree with me in this, right? So the speaker and all the role players, I hope, will feel encouraged by the aspects of this speech that went very well and motivated to make this speech better next time to help improve the quality of our meeting. So I would like to introduce our first evaluator, Toastmaster Vignesh, to evaluate the speech given by the speaker, Toastmaster Srikanth Kuttikrishnan. Toastmaster Vignesh works as a hardware application engineer working in Qualcomm. His hobbies includes reading and Toastmastering, of course, which we would all have noticed in his unique style of presenting his roles each time he takes up a role in Toastmasters meeting. Toastmaster Vignesh, rock and roll. Over to you.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator Toastmaster Ashwini. And a special thanks to my target speaker, Toastmaster Srikanth Kuttikrishnan. So it is a very wonderful experience and a very pleasure to listen such a great speech. I have encoded my evaluation report in 5 letters, TRAIN, TRAIN. So T for toughness. So I could see your situation in a big organization like Railway Department has so many lack of public relation services. So you have very well articulated in your content. So I could understand entirely how it contains 23 million of trains and 20 million of people. So how it manages those things. And for our is for responsibility. So in the responsibility aspect, you are not within your railway department duty. You extended your responsibility by doing a vaccination camp, driving those camps, and managing the people transport when a tough situation called lockdown, those scenarios. So that is a you have included this in the it actually matches in the purpose of the speech. And action, A for action. So A means action. So you tell about what action we have to do. So not only within your department, you have mentioned us, the Toastmasters, not only limit within integrity, respect, service, and excellence. We need to add some empathy and enhancement to the helping tendency towards the people to improve our public relation tendency. So that is a very well structured in speech. So for the recommendation part, I have a I for interaction. So your speech contains just narrating towards the content, but it should have some questions for the further engagement with the audience. So it will add some more interaction and good engagement, and we will indulge more in the content. So if you add that interaction, that would be better for us to listen. And for N, I could see copious number of copious amounts of numbers. So N is for numbers. You could have reduced the numbers content, like you have started with 23 million number of trains. It has under 2 million people working, and 7 lakh of people are outsourced for the work, and 1.75 crores of vaccination under March 2020. There is a copious amount of numbers. So if you have reduced the numbers, so we can on track of the content. So please reduce the numbers. So to summarize it, it has a very good articulated, I could understand the toughness, and it has a very good responsibility apart from what the limited duty in speech, I mean in the department it has. So we need some extended things, right? So that is the responsibility you mentioned, and what are the actions to improve our public relation tendency. So that is good, and the interaction needs some engagement or interaction in the speech and reduce the number. Yeah, that's all. Back to General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vignesh, for the detailed evaluation. So now let me introduce our evaluator for the panel discussion, Toastmaster Abhilash. He works as a chartered accountant, and he works in a finance division of a chemical manufacturing company. And I must say, he's the recent winner of semi-annual Division C evaluation contest. Over to you, Toastmaster Abhilash. We are all here, ears to hear from you. I'm sorry, he's the third winner of the semi-annual evaluation contest. Over to you, Toastmaster Abhilash. We are all here, ears to hear you. Come on.
Ears to hear you. That's an ironical statement, because in Zoom, I'm unable to see most of our ears, either headphones or hair is covering them. On that note, a very warm good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. That was indeed a wonderful panel discussion that we had today, hosted by Toastmaster Geeta and with our eminent DTMs Neena ma'am, Venu sir and Puneet as our panelists. So Toastmaster Geeta was presenting her level 5 elective, which shows the level of public speaking and leadership that Toastmaster Geeta has already crossed. So Toastmaster Geeta, bear with me. I will be going into the finer points of what you could have done better and what went well. So starting off with what went well, Toastmaster Geeta, you chose a very contemporary topic today, emotional intelligence and its need, especially in the times of these lockdowns and so what's and whatnots. This is the highlight of the thing. So kudos on choosing such a relevant topic today. The second thing which I would appreciate you was for your personal connect. You started off with a story of how your niece failed to tackle this particular emotional intelligence and hence had problems, and how you should help overcome them. I felt that that was a good way to start off because you had a personal connect there. Now, let me move on to where I felt you could perhaps improve yourself more. The first thing, let me focus on your content. Toastmaster Geeta, while you did give personal examples, you quoted from books, there was no proper definition of emotional intelligence coming from you, hardly one line or two, and even that was not substantiated with enough examples. The second mistake that you made was perhaps overemphasis on the book on emotional intelligence. What I would suggest is please treat your audience that they are ignorant about the book. Most of us, I feel, could not relate to that particular book, even though you explained the principles of self-awareness, self-regulation, ability to understand and everything. You have read the book, but when you say it out, here it has to be from your voice that you have to speaking. Please do not, you can quote from the book, but please do not, extensively refer the book, was my feeling here. Now, let me go to the structure of the panel discussion. Toastmaster Geeta, when you started off with that personal story, I felt you had a good structure. You wanted to see how children should be equipped with emotional intelligence, and you proceeded in that manner. You asked distinguished Toastmaster Neena to talk on emotional intelligence impact on society. And as a further step, you asked distinguished Toastmaster Venu to talk on children, the emotional intelligence impact on children. But after that, there was a slight veering off the course. you asked distinguished Toastmaster Puneet to once again talk on whether it is only for CEOs or everyone. And I felt there was a structure, what do I say, a difference over there from what we focused on. And that perhaps impacted the rest of the panel discussion. When you come to the group discussion stage, the question again was an excellent question. Can this emotional intelligence skill be learned, or is it by nature inside you? But again, the topic veered, of course, and we settled that group discussion as well without a particular conclusion over there. There was no conclusion on whether it could be learned or not. There are multiple examples people gave. But when you conclude, it is part of the panel discussion host's responsibility to ensure that you conclude with a resounding statement. I felt that that conclusion could have been strengthened a little more here. Toastmaster Geeta, you're an accomplished public speaker. But here what I felt was the again, as you know, people say in table topics, the spontaneity I felt was a little bit less today. If that had been improved, I'm sure that, you know, this panel discussion, the topic was great, the discussion was awesome. You know, when we go to those legendary panel discussions, I felt it could achieve that status if a little more spontaneity was involved. So to sum up, Toastmaster Geeta, a great topic and a great personal connect. At this point in your stage of public speaking, please focus on the finer aspects. We are done with the preliminary aspects. Please focus on those finer aspects, and I'm sure, you know, you're going places. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator. Oh, Madam General Evaluator, you're on mute.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhilash, for your evaluation. Now let us move on to our tag team report. So timer, Toastmaster Bharat, may we have your timer report, please?
Thank you. Yeah, sure. Let me share my screen. I think it takes time as the system is getting responded. First of all, I'm glad to say that everyone who spoke today are qualified, including Abhilash, is about to cross that limit. So let me go one by one. From the prepared speaker section, Srikanth, who completed his speech in 6 minutes 45 seconds. And the next panel discussion, TTM Geeta ma'am along with the panelist, the entire thing is completed in 38 minutes 10 seconds. And coming to the table topics, first person, Toastmaster Abhilash has completed his speech in 1 minute 28 seconds. Guest Anirudh has completed his speech in 1 minute 10 seconds. Guest Gandhi has completed his speech in 1 minute. Guest Sivakumar has completed his speech in 2 minutes. TM Nanda has completed his speech in 2 minutes 5 seconds. And TM Pooja has completed his speech in 1 minute 10 seconds. TM Abhirami has completed his speech in 1 minute 55 seconds. Guest Karthik has completed his speech in 1 minute 10 seconds. TM Ashwini has completed a speech in 1 minute 20 seconds. And going to evaluation section, Toastmaster Vignesh has completed his evaluation speech in 3 minutes 2 seconds. And Toastmaster Abhilash has completed his evaluation speech in 3 minutes 10 seconds. So with that, passing over to TM Ashwini. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster, for your detailed timing report. Now let's hear from our counter, Toastmaster Navi.
Evaluator. As Toastmaster Navina as a sergeant at arms used 1 pass, and Toastmaster Ashwini as a general evaluator as the introduction part of tag team used 1 hour, and Toastmaster Srikanth Kuttikrishnan as a prepared speaker, he used pass once at the conclusion part of his speech. As in the panel discussion, Toastmaster Geeta as a moderator, he used so twice while introducing the panelist speakers, and once at the introduction of panel moderator, and pass once at the introduction part of her speech. At the conclusion part, she used once And at the open discussion part of that, distinguished Toastmaster Venu used 1 hour, distinguished Toastmaster Neena John used 1 so, and Toastmaster Puneet used 1 hour. And Toastmaster Puneet used once as the panelist speaker, and General Evaluator Ashwini used 1 hour at the introduction part, and so once at the introduction part of the evaluators. And as the table topics, Toastmaster Lakshmi Narayana used 2 hours at the introduction part of the table topic session, and 1 hour at the conclusion part of table topics. And guest Anirudh used 1 hour at the introduction part of his speech, and guest Gandhi at the introduction part twice, and the body of his speech under twice once, and guest Shiva's the introduction part once, at the body of the speech once, so once, and the conclusion part twice. Toastmaster Nanda at the conclusion part of TT speaker pass once. Toastmaster Pooja at the introduction part once, at the body of speech and once once. Toastmaster Abhirami introduction part once, and the body of the speech once. Guest Karthik once at the introduction part, and twice at the body of the speech. Toastmaster Ashwini as table topic speaker once at the introduction part, body of the speech twice, and conclusion part so once. For evaluators, Toastmaster Vignesh used 1 hour and 1 so at the introduction part of evaluation, and body of evaluation he used 1 so 1 hour. And Toastmaster Abhilash for the commendation part he used to pass once, and at the recommendation part he used but once, error once. And that's all my report. Over to you, Toastmaster Ashwini, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Naveen Raj, for your detailed report. Now, let us have our grammarian report from Toastmaster Venu Neelagandan, please.
Yes, thank you, General Evaluator. Good evening once again. So today, many used a very good English language usage, particularly Nina. We all know that she's a walking dictionary, so I cannot take all the words. Still, I try to manage find some words. Chaos, provocation, plenty, and predication, genuine, wide range of topics, and finding fault, the alliteration, thinking on your feet. Those are the good usages. And General Evaluator is comprehensive, go down with depression, give ignition, rock and roll. And speaker 1, Sikon, Toastmaster Sikon, massive words of mouth and peculiar problems, alliteration again, and proactive, span of 6 months, enhance, leave a legacy, and founding father. And the second speaker, Geeta, the moderator, need of power, inculcate, label, enlightening, acquire. And the panelist number 3, Puneet, train of thoughts, fortunate, outburst, horseways, interest of time, and resolve conflict. And TT Master, the TT first speaker, Vilas, distract, the guest Anirudh, span of time, the guest Gandhi, spare in shape, that's alliteration again, be good and do good. Guest Sivas Kumar, money makes a man, it's again alliteration, and good servant and bad master, that comparison is good. And Nanda, Toastmaster Nanda, move the target, and two side of coin, that comparison also good. And Toastmaster Buddha Jain, workaholic. And as next, the evaluator 1, weakness, encoded, extended. Evaluator 2, Toastmaster Abhilas, eminence, substantiate, overemphasize, resounding statement, accomplished, spontaneity. These are the good usages. And today's word of the day used by General Evaluator once, and GTM Nina, the TMOD twice, TT Master once, Evaluator 1 twice. These are the number, these much times the word of the day used. And apart from that, not so good usage. Today, fortunately, we didn't have much not good usages. Still, I found a couple of times the simple tense, present tense and past tense interchange was there. And apart from that, whenever you are using the superlative degree, use the article D. So the most important things. So whenever you are having that nouns after important, use the most important things. Otherwise, you can omit. So apart from that, and it's a third winner means it's another connotation means it's a third number of three winners we have like that. And dialogue delivered, not spoken. These are the not so good usages we can correct. So this is my report. Thank you for the opportunity. Back to you, gentle evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Venu Nilekadan, for the detailed report and reiterating with the copious amount of good words that all the Toastmasters have used today. So now it's time for me to submit my report as a general evaluator. So let me start with what I loved in the meeting the most and what went well in the meeting. Today, all the role players dialed in before the start of the meeting to check their audio and video. I must appreciate that. SAA did a great job starting the meeting on time, and the agenda of the meeting was strictly adhered to even till now. The presiding officer started with the meeting with great enthusiasm, which set the tone for the meeting, and he acknowledged the presence of the area director, district finance director, as well as the mentor pool chair. And all the role players did a fabulous job. And just to highlight a few of them, Toastmaster of the Day, distinguished Toastmaster Nina John, kept the meeting both engaging and entertaining. As to mention in her own words, the entire meeting was an entertainment. And each role players played their roles effectively, and there was a smooth transition in passing on the baton to the next role player, which helped in the undisturbed progress of the meeting. Table Topic Master did a great job, and his session was very much engaging. He made sure that the topics were very simple and straightforward, particularly when he gave the topics to the guest to help them open up easily and to speak with comfort. And the topics given to the other role players were very much relatable. The summary of the tag team report was concise, and I appreciate them for having a screen display for the reports. The prepared speech was excellent, and the evaluation of the speech was constructive in nature. As far as the points I noted for improvement, though all the role players were renamed, we could have followed a consistent nomenclature. For example, we could have had the prefix Toastmaster or guest and name followed by a suffix as role. Rather than having role, I can see that in some of the participants' name, the role is in front followed by their name. So let's try to follow a consistent nomenclature and having prefix of either guest or Toastmaster followed by the name and followed by the role. And Toastmaster of the Day can ask for audio and video check before calling on to the speaker and pin the timer as we would usually do in the contest. And I must say, I did enjoy the meeting very well, and I could see the faces of all the guests and other participants here enjoy the meeting as well. So here is my report, and back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, distinguished Toastmaster Nina John.
Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator, Madam Toastmaster Ashwini. That was a crisp, clear, concise, and comprehensive report. So we have things to learn that we can improve as well as what we already have. So I think the polls have appeared now for best project, and everyone can vote on those. Meanwhile, I would like to mention the fact that one of my favorite quotations is the one by Maya Angelou, where she says, you may not remember what people said or what people did, but you will always remember how they made you feel. And that's really the crux of Toastmasters. It's really the crux of all these things. And it helps you understand that making people feel good is such an easy task. You don't have to whitewash. You don't have to just pay sincere compliments. Just look for the good in other people and you can do a great job. And I think that's another thing that Toastmasters teaches us, how to do all these things without any effort. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let me hand you over back to our presiding officer, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Abhilash. Yes. Bilash looks frozen.
Yeah, sorry, I had some connectivity issues. I think
All right,
I'm.
back to you, sir.
I don't know. Thank you. Give me just a minute. Sorry. Naveen, can you just help me with the polls?
Yeah, Toastmaster Abhilash.
Sorry, I'll need co-host access as well, Naveen, please. Thank you. So meanwhile, let us proceed on. Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Nina John, for having taken us through this evening in a beautiful manner. It was indeed a pleasure, and it was a great meeting that we enjoyed today. So let us quickly take some feedback from our guests. We have a couple of guests with us today. So today we have our guest, Rijo Jose. He's attending as a first time. So he is working with DTM Abraham Zakaria. So Rijo, could you tell us how you enjoyed our meeting today?
Yes, sir. Good evening, all. This is the first time I'm attending this Toastmaster meeting. I had some takeaways, like how to speak in a public and some ideas of what to do and things. I might be improving in future meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Rijo. Please do come. So next, so I think Sivakumar, I guess Sivakumar is coming for the second session. So how was it?
Very good evening to all the distinguished guests and fellow Toastmasters. As I said in my earlier meeting, I could see a high standard of the entire, in terms of the program, in terms of its content and the delivery and the way it is organized. And I hope to contribute and as well as get a lot of improvements and a lot of key takeaways I hope to get from this fantastic association with the club. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Please do come. Thank you, Shivakumar. Next up, Anirudh, could we hear from you?
So can you hear me?
Yes, Anirudh, we can hear you.
This again, like this is my second time. I came last week. Like what I felt was again like it was a very interesting topic. I really enjoyed the meeting. I also saw how I've improved from last time to this time. I took whatever feedback I received last time. I'm comparing them with the current feedback, and I'm seeing where I'm standing. Thank you.
Thank you, Anirudh. Thank you. Please do come. So I think with that, we can now proceed onwards to our, give me 1 minute. Yes. So with that, let us now proceed on to the end part of our meeting. It's time for us to now announce the results for today's meeting. So before we do that, we have a few first-time role players with us today. So Toastmaster Bharat played the role of timer for the first time today. Congratulations, Toastmaster Bharat. Wishing you many more such accolades on your Toastmasters journey. And Toastmaster Ashwini was playing the role of general evaluator as well for the first time today. Fantastic job. Well done, Toastmaster Ashwini. Again, for you, may you earn many more accolades in your Toastmasters journey. So now let us move on to the results. So the best tag role player from among our timer, our counter, and the grammarian is none other than our English teacher, our grammarian distinguished Toastmaster Venu Neelagandan. Congratulations, DTM Venu. Moving on, the best role player from amongst our TMOD, TT Master, and our general evaluator, again, none other than our veteran Toastmaster, DTM Nina John is the best role player of the day. Congratulations, DTM Nina John. Now, moving on, the best evaluator for today. So thank you everyone for voting me in. So I'll be the best evaluator. And now the best table topic speaker. Once again, thank you everyone for voting me in. So that was a pleasant surprise. And finally, last but certainly not the least, the best prepared speaker for today is none other than Toastmaster Geeta, who hosted a wonderful panel discussion. Congratulations, Toastmaster Geeta. Congratulations, winners. Thank you everyone for what has been a great meeting. It is now time. Let us adjourn meet number 802 to next week, same time, 4 p.m. Let us now gather for an informal session.